What's up, everybody? Welcome to Make Things Tiny. My name is Mick. What if I told you you could get a brand new luxury tiny house on wheels on Amazon? That's what we're talking about today. We're talking about an Amazon tiny house on wheels. It's gorgeous. It's got 3 bedrooms. Before we get into it, if you're new to the channel, make sure you subscribe and let's get into it. Let's talk about this Amazon tiny house on wheels. All right, welcome back. So today we're talking about a dream tiny house that's available on Amazon. So how it came about this was I was on the internet. I was just looking at tiny houses in general, as I tend to do, and I saw this article, which you're now seeing here, at least the beginning part of it, that said Amazon just listed a portable tiny house that has 3 bedrooms, tons of natural light, and wheels to travel. This is from a online magazine, like Travel and Leisure, and the picture's gorgeous. So I was like, all right, I gotta check this out. So this is like the specs of it, if you will. So it's a 3-bedroom tiny house. It is on Amazon. It's got 400 square feet. It's 30 by 8.5. It's got dual lofts. This is a photo from the Amazon website, like the page for the seller. It's got tons of windows. It's gorgeous. Like, it looks like you have plenty of like room when you know, like in terms of like the stairs and like getting up to the loft, and like it's really spacious. And it's $94,500, so it's sitting under 100K, like slightly just under 100K. So I wanted to check it out further. So I went to the link in the article, which takes you to the website on Amazon, the seller's site, and the parent company is Nomad Nest. So at first I was super excited about this. I was like, all right, this looks like legit, it looks cool. And then something about the Amazon seller website just didn't sit with me, like the website, like the Amazon seller page. So I decided to put it to the scammer test. I was like, all right, I'm out here telling you all that you've got to do reverse image searches every single time. So I was like, okay, looks like we're doing reverse image searches today, which I tell you right now was not what I was expecting to do. So I chose these 3 images that you see here. They're all going for various prices ranging from 46 to 100K. All right, so these are the tiny houses that I decided to do reverse image searches on. There's a lot more on their seller page, but I just focused on these. These are the ones you see when you first go to their site. They jumped out to me the most, so we'll start with the one on the left, and then we'll do the one on the right, and then we'll save the one in the middle for last. All right, so the one on the left, they're advertising, Nomad Nest is advertising as a mountain-style container home. I did a reverse image search on it, and honestly, I didn't find much, but in the corner, it was like the tiny corner of the Google image search results was this image that was like exact. And I was like, there's no way that if it's exact, it's this company's tiny home. Lo and behold, it actually belongs to a company called Amazing Spaces Tiny Homes, which is based out of New Zealand. I found their YouTube channel where they do a tour of this exact home, but the company was liquidated in 2023, and now Nomad Nest is using Amazing Spaces Tiny Home, and passing it off as their own. Not only are they doing that, but this exact image that you see like cropped from the YouTube channel is the video that is used on the Amazon site for this particular home. It's kind of like a tour, if you will, to show you what the house looks like. So they took a lot from them. All right, so we moved on to number 2. This is a really cool image. I just like the image of like the truck, you know, pulling this really modern looking tiny home and all the fall, you know, foliage in the background. I love fall. So yeah, this is their modern mobile tiny home, is what they're advertising it on through Nomad Nest on Amazon. But the original house is actually from Minimalist Houses in Canada. I've spoken to them before. They're a very reputable builder, pretty well known in like North America for tiny homes. So yeah, they just literally copied it and then pasted it onto Amazon, and obviously removed the part where it says it's someone else's model and a different price. The big one, which is what I've saved for last year, is the actual, like, I don't know, maybe it's the flagship model or the one that's being advertised the most. It's the one that came through the website, the article that I found, and it's the one that is kind of the showpiece, I guess, if you will. This tiny home was a little more like tricky to figure out, because when you do a reverse image search of the house on the left, which is from the Amazon seller Nomad Nest, you don't get anything. But in the corner of the Google search, like there's this tiny little thing that says related searches, so it's not an exact match, and it said Charm House, and I clicked on it and it pulled up this image here for Minimalist, again, a tiny house company based out of Canada. Now, if you look at these, they are almost exactly the same in terms of the window placement. You have the bump out and the AC, and you've got the other windows on the side, and with like the paneling, but they're not exactly the same. So I had to do a little bit of digging, and I found the YouTube channel for Minimaliste where they did a tour of this particular house on the right, which is their charm model for 2023. And then I went back to the Amazon seller's website, and if you click on their video tour, even though this image on the left here is what you see for buying the tiny house, if you go all the way over to the right, past all their photos, and you click on the video, you're gonna get an exact replica, because they stole it from the YouTube channel for Minimaliste, of a tour of the house on the right. That one took me a while because it just didn't sit right with me that this image on the left didn't exist anywhere else. But it looked so similar to the one on the right. And I was like, well, if they stole one thing from a company, two companies, who's to say they didn't steal something else? So turns out that this is from Minimaliste as well. So Nomad Nest on Amazon is, I would say, in my opinion, 100% a scam. They stole, for a couple reasons, they stole photos from other builders. I only looked at 3. Most likely all of the images are stolen. They stole the YouTube video tours. This is a big one. The photos is bad, right? And it is problematic. But to go to someone's YouTube channel and take the video of their tour and then pop it into your Amazon seller description as if it's a tour of the house is like kind of next level to me when it comes to scamming. And then obviously they changed the name, they changed the prices. But the bigger thing is how this happened. That's something that is really important to me every time something like this happens. Or anytime, you know, I'm coming across something like this. For this particular case with Nomad Nest, part of it is because they went after a company that is already liquidated. So Amazing Tiny Spaces, those photos are technically like expired, right? Because that company went under. And also they're in New Zealand. So the average consumer is not necessarily like scrolling through Google to find tiny house companies based in New Zealand. Like if you're sitting here in the US, like I am, you're not looking for a builder in New Zealand because you know that's gonna cost you a ton of money to have that house shipped to you. The other piece of its consumer knowledge is limited. This isn't necessarily a bad thing. I haven't talked about this too much, but you don't know what you don't know. And because there are so many builders popping up, I don't even know how many builders there are out there at this point. Companies like this that are trying to scam you really do kind of like prey on the lack of knowledge that you have about different sellers and who they are, and also what certain images look like. Because when I pulled up their Amazon seller page, those images didn't sit right with me. Some of them look AI generated, they're just too clean. And there's a difference between a photo that looks like too clean, or it's AI, or it's doctored, and a picture that's like genuinely coming from a builder. The other piece of it is the Amazon seller vetting process. I don't know what it is. If any of you knows anything about being an Amazon seller and what that process looks like, please drop it in the comments because I would love to know, because I was surprised that someone could steal someone's photos and a YouTube video, put it up on Amazon and sell stuff. Now, until, I guess I've talked about this maybe like once or twice, but for the most part, when these sorts of things come up and I do these videos on things that are potential scams or just flat out scams, I generally, you know, at the end of the video talk about what you can do. But I think at this point, we've kind of gotten to a point with like the volume of like scams and potential scams coming out where like something has to give structurally. So something has to give on the actual institution of the tiny house industry itself. So the question I have for all of you is this the time for a standard? Like, is this it? Is like enough? Something's got to give, right? We need standards for building. We need standards for legal companies. We need a formal vetting process, and we need a more, I guess, consistent and structured way to raise awareness for consumers in terms of like what companies are legit and what aren't. So I don't think it's enough or necessarily fair to put all of it onto y'all as consumers. But obviously I want to know what you think. What do you think about this particular one? There was a news article on it. I got so excited. Like, I was not planning on doing a video on a potential scam. I legit was going to do this video on this Amazon house because it looked so cool to me, and just talk about buying a tiny house on Amazon. And then this whole thing kind of unfolded. So what do y'all think? What do you think about buying a tiny house on Amazon, how this happened, if you've seen something similar, and then, you know, what do we do? What needs to happen from the perspective of, or at least from the position of like the tiny house industry as a whole, so that this, you know, I guess, I don't know if you can stop it, but there's gotta be something that can happen beyond what's going on right now, because this is kind of getting out of hand. All right, thanks so much for listening. As always, I appreciate you all taking the time to watch these videos. It means more than you know. If you're new to the channel, make sure you subscribe. If you haven't seen any of the other tiny house scam videos, you can pick one. There's quite a few at this point. There's a couple here that you can look at. As always, if you have anything that you want to see, any questions, drop it in the comments. I love hearing from you guys. I love seeing all the different conversations that you're having. So yeah, keep that up. And yeah, I look forward to seeing you guys in the next one. And don't forget to think tiny.